In black and white, it looks like a scene from the 1850s. Cowboys saddling their horses, pitching a canvas tent. Their iron coffee pot hangs above the fire. Later, one of them tips back his old hat and pulls out his guitar and sings a few songs around the campfire. But it's not the 1850s, rather the 1990s. And scenes like this take place every day in the American West, in the life of a real cowboy. Schoolhouse reasoning is not enough to do his job. It's much more complex. Like writing a piece of music with a sense of dangerous style that would boggle the minds of ordinary composers. The real style of a cowboy, the poetry of the way he sits his horse and they become one, loping down a hillside or trailing a pack train around the mountain trails, over miles and miles and miles, has a certain rhythm and pace and timelessness. He seems alone, but he never really is. His clock doesn't sit on his wrist, but overhead in the sky. He's up when it's light, goes to bed when it's dark, and knows what it's like to put in a hard day of work. His altar is the campfire, and his life is spent with one leg on each side and his mind in the middle. His home is under his hat. I could learn a lot from cowboys. More comfortable on a horse in the mountains of Wyoming than driving his truck around any city anywhere. John Winter is a cowboy. He's a quiet man with the strength and toughness. A real cowboy. High in the Yellowstone backcountry where the bighorn sheep roam the hillsides, elk dot the meadows, and the eagles soar in the sky above, is where John Winter spends most of his time. His 2 Ocean Pass camp sits in the remote Bridger Teton wilderness of the northern Rockies and is adjacent to some of the finest cutthroat trout fishing found anywhere. I met up with Tom Skerritt in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and we headed to the trailhead to meet John and his wranglers. We saddled up and took off on a majestic ride into one of the largest protected wilderness areas in the lower 48 states. Just outside the boundary of Yellowstone National Park, on the top of the Continental Divide, a stream splits. Half of the water flows east, forming Atlantic Creek. The other half flows west, creating Pacific Creek. It's truly the top of the world, and adjacent to John Winter's camp, our mountain home. The ride in took most of the day, and even a cup of John Winter's campfire coffee couldn't keep us awake. We settled in for a good night's sleep, knowing tomorrow would be spent chasing cutthroat trout in the streams on the top of the Rockies. The sound of the bells on the horses, the crackling of the fire, the birds singing in the meadow. There's nothing quite like waking up high in the Rockies. A cup of John's Mountain Mud, a quick breakfast, and we were off on a short ride to the creek. We arrived at a bend in the stream that looked like a place to try a dry fly. The fish had other ideas.
I just missed one, Tom.
Well, your first cast there had some interest, but not a whole lot since.
Turned and looked. So far, they don't want the dry fly, huh? Try a little smaller fly. That was probably a 16. Drop down to an 18. An 18 parachute Adams. But let me try this and see if they'll light it is. I gotta believe one of these guys is gonna take it right. No takers. I'm wondering.
Why don't you put a wet fly on that?
I'm just thinking out of curiosity, I'll put a little nymph on, huh?
Yeah.
Something that'll sink and
Yeah, sink. You can find that out.
find out if they'll feed on that.
There you go. Got her all
Yep.
on.
Got him. Tricky fish. Had to go down and dirty.
Put you some kind of a wet fly on there, Tom.
Okay. Move on down here. God, beautiful looking fish, huh?
They're nice, aren't they? They're all about the same size and awful good to eat.
Well, this water's cold. Caught him on a nymph. Boy, he was really hooked too. A little thin, huh?
They look a
Long.
little thin right now, yeah.
Long, thin fish.
Must be spawning well.
Got it, got it, got it, got it. Yep, got him. Boy, it's interesting in this clear water, John, to be able to see him.
Yeah.
Be able to see him take a fly underneath the surface.
Yeah, they're not rising very well today.
But you know when you can catch them like this.
That's right. That's plenty good.
Yeah, he's got a tight touch. He's not very pleased with that. No, he's not. He's too irritated to act up. He's saying, did I let myself do that? Twice I let myself fall for that. You want me to help you? Yeah. Unless he's got it.
Tell
He
you
may
what,
have it.
that's the big fish of the day so far. Look at the colors on that fish. It's
Did
incredible.
he take it deep?
Not at all.
So he's all right. We can let him go, huh?
The fly is out.
He's not harmed?
Nope.
There he goes. Well, thank you for taking him off the hook.
We fished the rest of the day with great success. We were able to sight fish to most of the cutthroat, and the constant game of figuring out which fly to use is always one of my favorite parts of fly fishing. John wanted to show us his favorite hole right in front of camp. He was careful to point out the importance of staying off the shallow gravel beds used by the cutthroat for spawning. We had arrived at the tail end of the spawning season, so there were still a few fish taking part in this age-old procreation ritual.
Yep. Come on.
Ooh, how pretty that was. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's as good as we've caught in here. This is a male. We'll let him go. Not bad. This is fair size too. Ooh. Thanks for the enjoyment. That's a pretty good catch. You figured out this type of fishing, Tom.
Our stay in the backcountry of the Bridger Teton Wilderness seemed all too short. The ride out was even more breathtaking than the trip in. Spending time with good friends in a setting such as this is something I'll never get enough of.
You're good people here. You got a good crew.
Oh, yeah.
You do.
It was great having you folks around. You good company and good fishermen, and pleasure to have you on the trip.
How much time do you spend back in there every year?
Well, we start about the 1st of June and get out about the end of November. So I suppose 6 or 7 months.
6 or 7
Well,
months
now,
a
that's
year.
got to be cold at the end of November.
Well, it does get a little chilly, all right, and but that's it's just beautiful about any time you're back there. You know, it's just different.
I can imagine. Well, today, every time you turned a bend, you had a new, unbelievable.
Yeah. That
vista.
ride out was remarkable.
Yeah.
It was remarkable.
The hailstones, the mothballs.
Yeah, about everything you could think of today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rain and hail and beautiful sunshine.
A
Yeah.
few cutthroat trout. That's got to be one of the best, I don't want to say best kept secrets because we blew that for you.
It is probably the best cutthroat fishing anywhere I know of, anyway.
It's incredible. John, I hope we do this again sometime.
I do too, John. It was
appreciate
really
it.
a pleasure having you folks along.
It was nice to meet you.
It's good folks. So, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.